On May the 11th, bombs went off in the Turkish city of Reyhanli. 49 people were killed and over 100 others wounded. The Turkish government immediately pointed the finger at Syria. Damascus has denied having anything to do with it and offered to help investigate the situation along with Ankara. Turkey refused the offer. The question would be, why would Syria want to attack the Turkish people? And with the Syrian army being so stretched, why would they want to open another front? What would they gain out of it? However, what would those fighting against the Syrian government gain by these bombings? Could it be a false flag operation in order to give an excuse for the West to get directly involved in the conflict? And after the bombings, what do you think was the reaction of Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan to this tragedy? One would think that he would have hurried to the scene to visit the wounded and the families of those killed, and to get a first-hand assessment of what had taken place. However, he reacted the same way former U.S. President George W. Bush did when he heard about the suffering of Louisianians in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Bush flew over the area instead of going there and was greatly criticized for his lack of compassion. And now there is Erdogan, who does not go and see what has happened in the town. Erdogan does not go to Reyhanli, but he heads to Washington, D.C. instead. So instead of talking to the people of Reyhanli, Erdogan goes to Washington and meets with U.S. President Barack Obama.
Şu kadarını ifade etmeliyim ki Suriye'de kanlı sürecin sonlandırılması, halkın meşru taleplerini karşılayan yeni bir yönetimin inşası konusunda Amerika Birleşik Devletleri ile tam bir mutabakat içerisindeyiz.
Mr. Erdogan, it appears that getting orders from Washington is more important than your own people who have just experienced this tragedy. You who say that you care so much about humanity, that you have to be involved in the Syrian situation because of people dying there. One would think that first you would care about those dying right at home. Are your own people really important to you? Or is it that you have been promised by the powers that be something much more important? We saw your reaction when the Israelis killed 9 of your countrymen aboard the Mavi Marmara. You talked very well, but your actions showed that you really had no problem with the Israelis and what they did to your fellow Turks.
Filistin normalleşme süreci için atılan adımlar var, gayretler var. Yeni başımıza başka sıkıntılar aşmamızın anlamı yok. Biz biliyorsunuz bir arada Suriye-İsrail arasındaki ilişkilerin barışa yönelmesi noktasında adımlar atmıştık ki 5 bölümde bu çalışmalar yürüdü ama peşinden sonra maalesef kesilmişti.
Just like now, do you really have problems that some Turks have been killed on the border? Or perhaps does it set the stage for you to go to Washington and ask the United States and others to get directly involved in the Syrian conflict because you, a fellow NATO member, has been under attack? Whatever it takes to reach the goal of overthrowing Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and helping to prepare the new Middle East that former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had talked about, are you willing to do? Mr. Erdogan, if you really cared about your people, then you would try to keep them safe. You would not allow Turkish towns to be used as field camps for murderers and rapists. These are not revolutionaries. These are not freedom fighters. Those who are allied with the United States, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Israel are not fighting for the freedom of Syrians, but for their own interests. Mr. Erdogan, it is not in Turkey's interest to have a destabilized Syria. Turkey and Syria are neighbors, and the can of worms that you and your friends have opened in Syria can easily spill over onto Turkey. You have allied yourself with Wahhabis and their extremist ideology, and you are exposing your own country to great danger. If you care so much about the Syrian people, then first care about your own people and don't open them up. to danger.
Suriye ile barış istiyoruz. Suriyeliler bizim kardeşimizdir.
BOP projesine, Büyük Orta Doğu projesine, Recep Tayyip Erdoğan'ın çıkarlarına, menfaatlerine oyuncak olmayacak bu halk. Oyuncak olmayacak bu halk.
Allah'tan kork. Sizin nereniz Müslüman? Müslüman devletleri birbirine vurdurdunuz. Amerika'nın hesabına, İsrail'in hesabına, İngilizlerin hesabına. Siz iktidarda kalıp çocuklarınız güzel yaşasınlar diye.
NasrTV.com